fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The training hall was alive with the sounds of clashing steel and the rhythmic thud of boots against the wooden floor. The scent of old leather and the sharp tang of metal filled the air, mingling with the faint aroma of the herbal poultices we used for sore muscles. I stood at the center of it all, watching as my students practiced their forms, their movements a dance of discipline and strength. But then the doors creaked open, and the entire room seemed to hold its breath. She walked in, her presence like a sudden gust of wind that stilled the chaos around her. Her long, curly brown hair cascaded down her back, catching the dim light of the lanterns and glowing like molten copper. Her green eyes, sharp as emerald shards, locked onto mine with an intensity that made my pulse quicken. The chatter of the trainees faded into a hushed murmur, and even the clatter of weapons seemed to dull in her presence. She moved with a grace that was almost ethereal, her steps light yet purposeful, as if she were gliding across the floor rather than walking. The fabric of her tunic whispered against her skin, a soft sound that somehow cut through the noise of the hall. Her gaze never wavered from mine, and I felt as if she were peeling back layers of my soul with just a look. I thought to myself, what is it about her that commands such attention? What secrets lie behind those piercing green eyes? I had seen many warriors come and go, but there was something about her that drew me in, something that made me want to know more. "I've heard you're the best," she said, her voice a melody that sent a shiver down my spine. It was soft, yet it carried a weight that demanded attention. The words hung in the air, charged with an unspoken challenge. "I need you to teach me everything you know." The determination in her voice was unmistakable, and it stirred something deep within me. I had trained countless warriors, but none had ever looked at me with such fire in their eyes. The hall around us seemed to dissolve, leaving only the two of us in a bubble of tension and anticipation. I could hear the steady rhythm of her breathing, the faint rustle of her clothing as she shifted her weight. Her scent, a delicate mix of lavender and something uniquely her, teased my senses. I felt my heart pounding in my chest, my mind racing with the possibilities. What did she want to learn? What drove her to seek out the best? "Why me?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, though the question felt redundant. I already knew the answer, felt it in the way my heart hammered against my ribs. She smiled then, a small, enigmatic curve of her lips that made my breath catch. "Because you're the only one who can help me," she replied, her tone leaving no room for argument. And with that, she took a step forward, closing the distance between us. The air between us crackled with an energy I couldn't name, and I knew, with a certainty that terrified me, that my life would never be the same. The days that followed were a whirlwind of relentless training and stolen moments of quiet conversation. She was a quick study, her movements precise and fluid, as if she had been born with a sword in her hand. But it was more than just her skill that captivated me. It was the way her laughter filled the hall, a sound so bright and infectious that it made even the most grueling sessions feel lighter. It was the way her touch, accidental though it often was, sent sparks racing across my skin. Late into the nights we would sit by the fire, the glow of the flames casting shadows across her face as she spoke of her past, her dreams, her fears. Each word, each shared secret, drew me deeper into her orbit. I found myself craving her presence, the sound of her voice, the way her eyes lit up when she talked about the future. And yet beneath the growing affection there was a fear, a gnawing dread that whispered of the dangers that lay ahead. She was a storm, beautiful and wild, and I was helpless to resist her pull. As the weeks turned into months, the bond between us deepened, weaving itself into the very fabric of my being. I could no longer imagine a life without her in it. We would take long walks through the forest, the trees towering above us, their leaves rustling in the wind. We would talk about our hopes and dreams, our fears and desires. I learned about her childhood, about the struggles she had faced and the triumphs she had achieved. I learned about her family, about the people she loved and the people she had lost. And with each passing day, I found myself falling deeper and deeper in love with her. But I was afraid to tell her, afraid of ruining the delicate balance of our relationship. I was afraid of losing her, of driving her away with my feelings. So I kept them hidden, locked deep within my heart, and instead focused on training her, on teaching her everything I knew. And she was a quick learner, a natural warrior with a fierce determination in her eyes. She would push herself to the limit, testing her boundaries, and I would push her further, testing her resolve. Together we would spar, our swords clashing in a deadly dance, our movements a blur of steel and sweat. And when we finished, we would stand there, panting, our chests heaving, our eyes locked in a fierce stare. It was exhilarating, it was terrifying, and it was addictive. I couldn't get enough of her, of the way she made me feel, of the way she challenged me to be my best. And so, when the day came for us to face the unknown together, I didn't hesitate. She stood before me, her eyes a mix of fear and resolve, and I knew that I would follow her anywhere. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly but her gaze steady. I nodded, my heart pounding, and took her hand in mine. Together, we stepped into the unknown, ready to face whatever awaited us. And as we walked hand in hand, I realized that she had become my anchor, my light in the darkness. Whatever lay ahead, we would face it together. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the landscape, and I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I knew that I had found my partner, my friend, my soulmate, and I knew that I would do anything to protect her, to keep her safe. We walked in silence, the only sound being the rustling of leaves beneath our feet and the beating of our hearts. It was a moment of perfect tranquility, a moment of perfect harmony. And as we disappeared into the distance, I knew that our journey was just beginning, and that together we would face whatever the future held.